Right, let's go with mastering the hologram. This is part one, and it's called Mastering Your Domain. Remember in the mechanics of creation webinar we spoke about the universe consists of 99.99% light and sound waves, and that manifestation happens in a stair-step way where waves of light and sound are observed and they begin to spin around each other, collect more of themselves and create a morphogenetic field that we call the quark. And these quarks begin to spin around a center, a nucleus, and they form atoms. And then the atoms vibrate very highly and they form molecules. And molecules break down into the resonant parts and they create cells. So we are cellular beings, but we also molecular beings and atomic beings and morphogenetic beings and wave beings at the same time. Now, what are these waves? There are basically two kinds of waves. There's the electric or light as it manifests in the hologram as thoughts. And then we have magnetic sound waves that manifest in the hologram as emotions. These waves move in different ways. Light waves move in a single direction, and sound waves move in concentric circles, thus contributing to the basic design of sacred geometry. Why is this relevant? These waves collectively manifest as particles of matter, create form, geometry through cymatics. They create the holographic reality fields, observed reality. They create timelines of reality and dimensional spaces of reality. Now let's do with the first, manifest as particles of matter. Waves go through that stair-step process of being observed from wave form into particle form. And they manifest as cellular forms in the physical world. And then waves create form through their geometry. And if you remember in cymatics, when you have a sound generator and place it under a plate and then drop some powder or dust onto the plate or platelet, and you play a certain frequency of vibration through that plate, those dust particles will begin to form themselves into a geometric shape. And thus cymatics, sound, creates form. And the holographic reality fields are also created by the waves of light and sound. And we'll get more into that a little later. And then light and sound waves create timelines of reality. And we'll deal with that later in this course. And they create dimensional spaces of reality. And you can, if you like, buy my book, The Multidimensional Universe, where I explain the multidimensional nature of the universe. So how do we master the hologram of our experiences here? That's what we're going to deal with. In the mechanics of creation, we learned we are eternal conscious beings observing waves of energy and experience ourselves as material matter beings. In the mechanics of creation, we learned we are simultaneously also molecules, atoms, quarks, and waves. And we are all of these at the same time. So we are multifaceted and multidimensional beings having our experiences here, as individuated expressions or facets and dimensions of the one thing. And we do this at the same time, all at the same time. And we are faceted just like diamonds. That's us, multifaceted and multi-dimensions, sparkling like diamonds. So where do we start this journey of self-discovery, of unpacking this mystery of being and mastering the hologram? We start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. At the core of who we are light and sound. We are light, waves of light and sound, of thought and emotion. This is the projection room from where we project this movie of life that we experience. Let's look at how a movie projector works. It is a projector and has power and animation. It has a source of information, which is the film that runs through it, and it has a source of light that projects onto a screen. In the same way as a projector, we have a source of power, our soul energy, a source of information, our thoughts, a source of light, our emotions. So we are the projectors of our own reality through our thoughts and emotions that are projected into a holographic experience of our reality. The information we feed the projector are our thoughts, like intentions, hopes, dreams, expectations, anticipation, and our optimism or pessimism. These all manifest in our hologram without fail. Our emotions act as a light carrier wave to carry the thought information in co-resonance with each other. The frequency of our thoughts and emotions will create this expression of what we will experience in our manifest reality. This screen is what we experience in our 3D reality. In other words, we are projecting into our 3D reality what emerges from our thoughts and emotions, carried in co-resonance with each other. Our emotions act as a light carrier wave to carry the thought information in co-resonance with each other. The frequency of our thoughts and emotions will create the expression of what we will experience in our manifest reality. So why don't our thought expressions always manifest as we want? It's called collapsing the wave in physics. But how do we collapse the wave? Here we have a single wave, say, the magnetic wave of our emotions. Here we have two waves, the yellow and the green lines. The magnetic wave of our emotions and the electric wave of our thoughts. When these waves are in coherence with each other, they create a wave twice as strong. That is the white line. Here we have two waves that are not in coherence with each other. When they're when the magnetic wave of our emotions and thoughts are not in coherence with each other, both waves collapse and cancel each other out. This is called collapsing the wave. Now we see this in nature when observing the sea and the waves in the sea. When the top of one wave crashes down into the bottom of the other wave, they both collapse and they cancel each other out. Well, that's what we are doing. Most of us are in a cycle of self-defeat, where we continuously self-sabotage by collapsing the wave. In this course, we will learn how we can stop doing that. If we are the projectors of our own reality, why do we keep projecting in ways that are ineffective and that don't serve us? The reason is that this truth has been kept hidden from us, and we have been conditioned to self-sabotage. And we see this all the time where people think one thing and then feel another, where they say one thing and mean another, where they do one thing and say they will do one thing and they do something else. This incoherence of our thoughts and emotions creates chaos in our lives. But here's how we can change that. By projecting our thoughts and emotions in coherence with each other, in waves that serve us, as well as each other. At this point, let's take a short intermission for quiet and heartfelt meditation. Right, we're back. How do we project our thoughts and emotions in harmonic resonance? By becoming aware of them, by understanding where they come from, and by projecting our thoughts and emotions in harmonic resonance with each other. In other words, we want to match high frequency thoughts with high frequency emotions. Now, how do we become aware of our thoughts and emotions? By observation, by interrogation, by evaluation. Let's look at them one at a time. How do we become the observers of our thoughts and emotions? By being aware of them and consciously aware of them, and guard your thoughts. By consciously observing them, and one has to make a conscious effort to do that. And then also by writing them down and journaling them, just to remind ourselves what our thoughts have been and what our emotions have been. How do we interrogate our thoughts and emotions? By realizing that many or most of our thoughts and emotions are conditioned responses to subjective learning. So we are conditioned by subjective learning. We interrogate our thoughts and emotions by asking, where did that thought or emotion come from? What was behind that? Why did I project that thought or emotion into my hologram? And then by asking, are those thoughts or emotions really mine? Do you take ownership of your thoughts and emotions? And if they're not really yours, if they've just been planted there by indoctrination and dogma, then you have to really do something about it. How do we evaluate our thoughts and emotions? By observation and interrogation, we can begin to evaluate them. By deciding what level of values and standards we would like to experience our thoughts and emotions. By adjusting in this way, we can establish new ways of thinking and emoting. We're going to send each of you a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet will have 3 worksheets in it. And the first worksheet evaluates whether you've ever felt an emotion or not. And by doing this exercise, you can answer this question, have you felt this emotion? Yes or no? And you answer yes or no to all the emotions that are listed there. And by sorting them then into all the yeses and nos, you can see which emotions you've never really felt before, if any. And if you've never felt that emotion before, try to feel that emotion. Try to feel what it feels like. And the reason one does that is so you build up a memory of emotions. And you also become more empathetic when other people are feeling emotions. You understand what emotion they're feeling because you felt it yourself. and you have a memory of that emotion. The second worksheet lists the emotions again, and then it asks the question, do you feel this emotion regularly? And you answer yes or no, and evaluate the yes or no whether more regularly 10 and less regularly 1. And by doing that, you can see which emotions you regularly feel and which you don't feel. And you might be surprised to find that you regularly feel certain emotions, and they're a kind of a loop playback where you're feeling this emotion most of the time. And when you're feeling that emotion most of the time, it's counterproductive to you projecting into your hologram the kind of experiences that you want to have. The third worksheet lists the emotions and then asks you to rate the emotion as positive, negative, or neither. And by doing that, you can do a sort on that and see which emotions will serve you and which don't serve you. And by feeling the emotions that serve you most will create a higher frequency of vibration in your emotional state. The next question that's asked, would you find it easy to change this emotion, yes or no? And by evaluating that, you would find those emotions that are probably nestled in your emotional body and perhaps don't belong there. And so you can do this evaluation of which emotions you feel regularly and which you find difficult to change. And the ones you find difficult to change, you should try to do some work on them. And if it's a negative emotion, you should try to change that negative emotion into a positive emotion so that it doesn't get nestled in your emotional body and keep you in an emotional loop. And then the third question is you rate the frequency of these emotions as follows: low, medium, and high. And then once you do a sort on that, you can see which emotions are high frequency and that serve you, and which emotions are low frequency that don't serve you. And then you try to make a conscious effort to feel the emotions that are high frequency as much as you can, and try to stay out of the low frequency emotions. Let's look at our values and standards by which we measure our thoughts and emotions. Human values and standards have been leveled to the subjective standards of the ego. So if it's okay with me, it must be okay with you. So we make, and that seems to be the current standard of most of humanity. So we make up these rules according to what suits us and not what is realistic in the universe. Our standards and values are mostly based outside of cooperation and coherence with the laws of nature and the law of one. So we need to start developing values and standards that are in co-resonance with the universe and with the laws of nature and the law of one. Being out of resonance with our emotions and our thoughts and having low values and standards is a danger to humanity, to nature of the entire planet. And we can see that. That's why we don't think twice about destroying the environment or not cooperating with it. If our values and standards are not in coherence with the laws of nature, to our codependence on each other in the universe, to all life everywhere, we will suffer the karma that comes with that. When our standards and values are in direct correlation with the laws of nature and the law of one, this will affect our abilities to manifest, because manifestation works according to the laws of nature and the law of one. We're also going to send you a spreadsheet which lists some values. And I highly recommend that you go through them. And it says, I am, and then it lists the value. Adventurous, I am appreciative, I am authentic, I am brave, I am calm. And then you can do an evaluation of those. If you don't feel that, you don't have that standard, or it doesn't manifest in your hologram often, then rate it from 1 to 10. Those that appear most often rate as a 10, and those that appear least in your hologram, rate them as a 0 or 1. In that way, you will find out what values you actually hold and what values you are practicing in your life. This is very important because it sets up the harmonic resonance within your soul that becomes your 0 point energy point. And this is the portal through which we project our thoughts and emotions. And if we are in co-resonance with each other and with our thoughts and emotions, we're more easily able to get our message over to the universe. If we want to become masters of our hologram and reality experience, we have to become conscious projectors of our thoughts and emotions in accordance with the laws of nature and the law of one. To summarize then, energy soul bodies, that's us, are created by the light and sound fields. They are designed according to a universal soul template. They enter a soul evolutionary process and provide their own experiences, are therefore divine creator beings. They experience their reality in a holographic matter field. In our next class, we will delve more deeply into emotional competence and using our thoughts creatively, productively, and inventively. And I really encourage you to do the work and do the homework that is necessary, because if you do it, you're going to become much more effective in providing yourself with the experiences you need to have in order to refine your soul, which is the purpose that we are living here. And so I would really encourage you to do that, and let me know if you have any questions or any comments or want some discussion about some of these points. But that's where we are, and that's what we have to do. And I trust you're going to follow your heart in this one. We will look at how we experience our reality along a timeline of frequency, and that the outcomes we experience will be based on our thoughts, emotions, words, and actions, our values, standards, and our attitudes. All of these are steps to create a higher frequency in our soul body, so that we experience a higher frequency timeline. So what has happened on this planet, people are experiencing low frequency timelines, who've been trapped in a low frequency timeline. And the only one who can bail us out of this is ourselves. So we need to become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, our words and actions, our values and standards, and our attitudes, so that we can better produce the experiences we want to experience.